Welcome to the meditation. As always, let's take a couple of deep breaths in. Telling your body that it is safe. Creating that secret container. Giving our body a chance to listen to our guiding system, our intuition. This is number 1. That's number 2. And this is number 3. You have the pink calcite. Kind of looks peachy, but it's pink. You have the desert rose. And for group 3, you have the citrine. Let's get right to it. Hello, my group 1s. Welcome to your reading. October's first new moon, which was on October 6th. I am recording this on Friday. It was technically on Wednesday night, Wednesday or Thursday. Doesn't really matter. Welcome. As always, these are great for the next 2 weeks. So regardless of when you're seeing this, energy has no boundaries. Therefore, you're probably at the right exact moment to watch this video. And as always, we always start with the archetype, meaning the overall energy of the next 2 weeks. Then we will go into what we need to know, where is it all going. And this time around, I decided to pick a couple of extra cards. One will be your healing card for the next 2 weeks, the lover's card, so what we need to know about your love, a guidance message from your love, and a spirit animal. You have chosen the red calcite. So the red calcite is such a just sweet energy for all those that need just a little bit of love. You know, that unconditional love that we're all looking for. If you feel like you've been kind of unease lately, you've definitely come to the right pile. My heart goes to you. There's a lot of things going on. Keep moving forward. Keep doing everything that allows you and helps you to reconnect with yourself. That will be one of your first messages. I've been using a mantra that's been really helping me. It's from Phil. I don't know his last name, but he's very popular in the whole spiritual community. Very raw, very real, no BS. And he gave this mantra. It's, I convert everything into love in my emotional bodies. I convert everything into love in my emotional body. It is a great meditation mantra to do with your meditation, and just saying it out loud like this: I convert everything into love in my emotional bodies. It right away relaxes. So I probably heard that mantra specifically for you today. So let's dive right in to your archetype. So the overall energy is the 3 of Pentacles, le 3 de la Terre, croissance. Ooh, something's growing. Something's maybe growing within you. It could be a little baby. It could be a project. But the overall energy is something is germinating. I feel like for some of you also is about an end of a cycle and a beginning of a new one. I don't know why that's coming right now, because the 3 of Pentacles is usually about working on your craft. But I'm feeling like this is like there's new seeds that have been placed, and you're catering to them. You are giving them unconditional love. You are paying attention to them. specifically, like that you are really paying attention to these new seeds instead of focusing on the ones that didn't work. You're really focusing on the ones that are now coming into play, the ones that you really want to see come to life. I feel like some of you have been working on your manifestation game, and I think this is really like where the work lies. Keep doing it because something great is coming out of it. So I would say the overall energy is to just keep doing and keep focusing on the new seeds. Forget about everything that's going on around in the world. Like, it's so beautiful, this card too. I don't know if you guys are able to see it, but this is like the heart of the earth, and it's giving life to these seeds. And it's almost like your heart desires are now coming into fruition, but only because you've decided to put that attention there. So for the next few weeks, it's really the overall energy, the archetype. Oh my God, wow, yeah. I've just noticed these two. It's like, you see how dark these trees are? Yes, they're like thick and big and strong, but they're very dark and gloomy. And look, they don't even have any kinds of leaves on them. So it's like you've built a philosophy and a reality on outdated beliefs and outdated realities that you just know aren't working for you anymore, and you really focusing on the new beautiful dreams, desires, really work what's coming from the heart, and it's coming to fruition. I almost feel like for some of you it might be like the first kid, the second kid, the third. If you guys are mamas, you're setting up a new reality, a new paradigm for your babies. They're going to be fed with so much love and so much possibilities. So even if you're not, even if you're not a mama, anybody that is catering at some kind of project right now is going to be filled with so much love. Yeah, so the overall energy for the next 2 weeks is just to keep working on focusing where you do want to go instead of where you've been and where you don't want to go anymore, what has not been working. Okay, you've spent enough time there, you know exactly what you need to change. Now it's time to move forward. And I feel like you're already on that path. You've already made that movement. The momentum has already started, but now it's just a question of to keep going. Let's see what our tarot cards have to say. These cards are set up to not really read them in reverse because the meanings are pretty. I see a lot of major arcanas here. La. That's okay. Nothing to be afraid of. They're just big pivotal moments and big pivotal changes that are happening. Okay, so what we need to know. So there's definitely an integration process. So this is the card of temperance. So you're weaving something new, but it needs time to actually integrate. You need this time. Be patient with yourself. There's going to be a lot of wounds that are going to come and resurface in the next 2 weeks, and it's absolutely normal. It needs to come up to the surface. It needs to go through your body so you can actually release it. And it's going to be really a balancing act. I feel like you've been going from left to right, right to left in terms of vibrational frequency, right? The whole purpose of vibrations, the whole purpose is to come back to ourselves. Everything else around that is kind of like static, or it is teaching us how to come back to center, how to come back to this alignment. Because if you are too far off of the high vibration, high frequencies, you might be too high up in your head or in your mind about how good everything feels, that you're not really 150% present and see exactly everything that's going on. And the same thing at the ladder, if you're doubting yourself and all that, it takes you away from this alignment, this purity that is you. As soon as you doubt yourself, there's that sense of unworthiness. And that doesn't mean that if you're fearful, let's get to the example of fear. You might be fear, but if your body's been running into if your body's just been running on fear for such a long time, it won't really know the difference between real fear, where you have to fight or flight, and the difference between just, oh, okay, this is just my body that is used to it, it's just addicted to this feeling. So there is definitely an integration process. You're planting new seeds, you've been catering to them, and you've been just giving them what they need, the attention they need, the growth and the love that they need. You know, I almost feel like you need to get off of social media to actually focus on this. You know, come back to center. What do you want? Start journaling. Write it in your, start getting a specific journal that where you can write and jot down everything that feels good, any thoughts and memories that feel good, where you can just have all those examples in one place. So if you're feeling low and you're kind of, the wounds are coming back up, you can go to this journal and just remember, no, this is what I want. This is how I want to feel, right? Any emotion, any thoughts that make you feel exhilarated, write it down in this separate journal so you can actually come back from the doubts and the fears and anxiety and come back to your core, to your truth. And that's alignment and guidance from your intuition and trust, right? Trusting yourself. A lot of the wounds is because we feel like, a lot of the wounds I've noticed, in my case anyways, it's been self-sabotage, but more importantly, anger at myself for not seeing things in advance, or not understanding things, or not feeling things, and really like just an anger of self more than an anger of others a lot of the time. So this is where the beautiful balance from lower frequency, higher frequencies, and as soon as you hit that sweet spot, right, that sweet spot that we're all looking for, where the information comes, where the awareness comes, where the active listening comes, the consciousness comes, like it's that alignment where everything is clear and there's no doubt. And then from there you can scale up higher frequencies while you're still grounding. It's that, you know, as above, so below, but it's how to connect that, and that is alignment. It's my understanding of it anyways. So yes, the integration part, you're gonna have you will have these wounds, but they need to come up. I've been doing a great meditation. If you don't know Brian Scott, check his meditation out. If you want a link, I could put a link in the description. It's the release meditation. I've been doing this for the last week and a half, morning and night, before I go to bed and before I wake up. And it's crazy how just saying release like a mantra, 2, 3, 4, 5, for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. The meditation that's on YouTube, I think, is about 10 minutes long. It's so powerful. And it really brings things into perspective, because just by saying release, you'll get all kinds of images, things that you've thought that you've let go of might still be in the emotional bodies. Just remember, you got this. You're doing such a great job. You are weaving something new. If you have any doubts, this is your confirmation. It is working. And yes, staring our wounds in the face could be scary, because we've been avoiding them for so long, but it's so empowering to stare them in the face and be like, okay, I accept, I acknowledge you. Now I could heal. Now it's time to let go and release. And where this is all going is really powerful and really beautiful too. You have the 2 of Cups, you have Strength cards, you have the 5 of Cups, and then you have Empress. Empress is in reverse, but I won't worry too much about that. I really want to focus on these 2 cards, the 2 of Cups and Strength, right next to each other. I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a hell of a ride. There is a partnership of some sort, whether it's a love related, whether it's friendship, business partner, whatever it is, there's something that's strengthening, and it's going to need strength because all this is tough. You're probably facing a lot of wounds that have to do probably with this relationship or this commitment. But as I see it upright, especially I'm like very, there's two beautiful flowers, but I'm looking really at this one on the bottom that kind of looks like the lotus flower that is blooming, that is coming out of the mud, right? Like the lotus flower to me, well, I mean, the story of lotus flower is that it's one of the most beautiful flowers. It could be considered like one of the most beautiful flowers, but the beauty that's even beyond that is the fact that it comes from these foggy waters, muddy waters. And the fact that it could bloom like that through all that is where the idea of consciousness and enlightenment is symbolized from. So for me to see this on the bottom, specifically for it to grab my attention, is really something. And you have another one up here. It's kind of like, I kind of see them both as blending two different worlds, blending two different realities. You have one that's coming out of the muddy waters and the other one's coming down, almost like you both have different perspectives. But if you approach them, if both of you approach them with compassion and understanding and kindness, they will blossom. As much as them, as much as you, I feel like you're the one that is coming from a higher perspective, and you're the one that's coming from a more spiritual world. The other person, I feel like it's more 3D. Like you're coming from a place that's 4D, 5D even, and they're coming from a place of more 3D. So at times it's very hard to understand each other because you're just like, yes, but look at everything else in the world. Look at all the possibilities. But for them, it's very hard because they're kind of like a grounded and extremely grounded perception. There's a lot of information here, my group ones. Let me know if this has resonated with you so far. So yes, this is right next to the Strength card. Another major arcana. We already have two over here. So another major arcana. And the Strength card is all about the inner perseverance. You can see how she doesn't use force to control the lion. She has just this gentle approach, and this is the approach that you should have on yourself. This gentle approach of like, yes, there's a roaring lion, and it could go one of two ways. It could go in a way where the lion is out of control and just driven by their emotions, or with a way of control and poised and security, right? Like a lion doesn't need to prove anything. A lion doesn't need to prove it's the king of the jungle. It doesn't need to prove anything with words or actions. It just knows. And as soon as you feel the need to explain yourself or defend yourself, take it as a red flag. Take it as, okay, is this me talking, or is this my ego talking that needs to prove? Because the ego usually needs to prove something. The control and aligned self, the true self, the I don't want to say enlightened, it's more like the all-knowing self doesn't need to prove anything. So where am I going? Like, whatever's going on up here, whatever wounds, just remember that they're supposed to happen, that this relationship is blossoming. It is coming together. You see, these fishes they haven't come to a middle ground. They're actually still looking in opposite directions. But there is hope. There is this, I almost want to say, you just need to create a beautiful, safe container for both of you, and specifically for yourself. And it's going to take strength and perseverance, but more importantly, it's going to take you to Trust and believe in yourself. Trust and believe that you can overcome this. Trust and believe that there's more to this relationship and that it could blossom to exactly how you want it to blossom, how it's meant to blossom. 3 little peanuts over here. Some of you have like 3 kids. I don't know why I'm sensing that. And then you have the 5 of Cups, and the 5 of Cups is the cups of longing, but more importantly of longing for things that are lost, longing for, paying attention to cups that have spilled instead of paying attention to the cups that are still there, the potentiality. And I feel like a big part of this coming together and a big part of your perseverance is you being able to shift your perspectives, to forgive the past, to let go of it in a way where you thank it for what it has taught you, to go deep and really be like, okay, this happened, I accept it. What did I learn from it? Why am I still holding on to it? Is it just part of the addiction of this emotion? Is it part of these wounds that need to be molted? And how could I rewrite a new story around this, right? The whole point of manifestation is seeing things in a different perspective, and a whole point of different perspective is rewriting the story, rewriting it in a more truthful way. Asking yourself, is this the ultimate truth? And ultimately, nothing is written in the sky. It could be a truth that you've been hanging on to, but is it really ultimately the ultimate and only truth? Probably not. And what kind of story can you create around it? And this is something that you can do with any of these wounds, anything that comes up. Is this the ultimate truth? Ultimately, it's probably a no. Even if it feels true, it's probably not the ultimate truth. There's probably something more that you cannot see. And can you rewrite the story? And that is always a yes. This is something that I've been practicing, and it's so empowering. So where I'm seeing this all going is a re-embracing of the ultimate feminine, the mother of all mothers. That's, I've said it in past reading, almost like that submissive wife, but it's not the submissive wife. It's just the female version of someone who's able to empower others instead of enforcing it, or in a way that it seems like they're controlling, or like empowering and being empowered with a feminine touch. Let's just put it like that. And I feel like one of the ultimate lessons is for you to become this empress, for you to embrace this ultimate Mother Mary, ultimate compassion, Kuan Yin. Like, she embodies these kinds of goddesses. If you don't know these goddesses, I would definitely do some research around them. She's also the ultimate harvest, another pregnancy card too. Girl, honey, whoever's watching this, whoever you are, it's time to take care of yourself. It's time to free yourself from all these wounds. It's time to let go of the past and start telling a different story. Until you don't start telling a different story about your reality, you're always going to be doomed to go back to that old behavior, that old mental process, these old limiting beliefs. It's going to take a bit of time. It's an integration. You're in the integration process. And this next 2 weeks is the integration process. If you can do that releasing meditations every single day for the next 2 weeks, you will see dramatic shift. And if you don't, to write me a message down, we'll figure something else out. But right now you're learning how to come back to your neutral position so you could create the ultimate reality, the best version, not only of yourself, but of your world. And I'm loving these dragonflies. They're all about transformation too. So you're definitely transforming. And I almost feel like you're in this cocoon stage. And the next 2 weeks is about you turning into mush, like what a butterfly does, completely letting go of its concepts and its material behavior, his 3D reality. He's mushing it into mush so he can now rebuild himself and turn into the butterfly that he or she is meant to be. Yes, and this is all leading up to you becoming this incredible person, aligned, healed, using all her gifts and empowering others as she's doing that. So your healing message is dreams. Pay attention to your dreams. I feel like some of your psychic abilities is that of the third eye. You probably see different dimensions. You probably see little light orbs, or you sense things. For me, dreams though means that there's something visual. You can be very visual. And to really pay attention to your dreams the next 2 weeks. If you can write them down every time, that will stimulate and help your mind actually remember your dreams. And eventually you'll be able to see similarities, and that might actually bring in some more information. Or it could just be showing you exactly what you want. If you're someone who's not sure of what they want, the dreams might bring you more information of that. And then I also got you guys a little prompt over here for interesting, talking about the divine feminine. For your love card, your guidance for love this next 2 weeks is let go of control issues. Allow the situation to unfold naturally. I think this is one of the best cards that you can have with this reading, group 1. I mean, it is just perfect. The whole idea of this integration is that you're integrating it and you're just letting things happen naturally. The healing process doesn't have to be painful. It's just a question of acknowledging, accepting, and letting go. Letting go is not always easy because our body and our mind and the neural pathways that we have created are extremely strong. So it feels like it's painful, but in reality, it's like the, how can I say it? It's like a massage, you know, or the masseuse is taking out all kinds of knots in our backs, and it feels painful in the moment, but as soon as it's done, it's like, whoa, I have all this space. There's so much space where these knots once were, for fresh new information, fresh new blood to come in. And to do that, control. And if some of you are working on putting their foot down, just make sure it's coming from a place of integrity and not of control, not of fear. Okay, there's a very deep and important difference in that. You also have your animal card. This I will read. You have the goose. Let's see, it's upright as well. 34. If you have goose medicine in your cards, undertake a meditation on the various qualities of movement within your world. Begin by visualizing the sun as one member of a huge group of stars swirling in this massive pinwheel shape of the Milky Way. Then draw yourself out of this pinwheel of the light and into spiraling of your own DNA's double helix, an arrangement similar to a rope, ladder coiled like a corkscrew. Analyze the way you move through your world. How do you picture yourself in the act of locomotion? What kind of reactions do you create with the energy you send into the universe? What words would you use to describe the way you move through both the material and spiritual worlds? In the final analysis, is your movement compatible with your greatest desires and goals? Many spiritual disciplines ask that you seize all external movements in order to recognize the inner life. Guru's medicine, however, is an invitation to dance. Guru celebrates the divine source through its sacral spiral dance and offers this dance to you as a gift. You can spend a lifetime learning Guru's lesson on how to harmonize your dance with Mother Earth's cycle and how to offer the dance as a creation of selfless beauty. So this is just another meditation for you. You've just had all kinds of meditations, and definitely rewatch it if you must. One last thing is going to be a prompt. A lot of us generally do small talk, but less big talk. I decided to bring in a prompt, and this could be for yourself. I actually encourage it for you to ponder this yourself and see what comes out. Or offer this prompt or offer this conversation to somebody else, somebody that you feel called to asking and seeing what comes up, right? If you want to deepen a conversation. So the prompt is, when was the last time you lied and why? Maybe even send me a little message to tell me a little bit about this. This could be my prompt to you as well. I would love to know and get into a deeper conversation, right? So yeah, ponder this, see what comes up, and try it out with somebody else, someone that you don't know, someone that you do know, or both. And that's it for my group ones. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for allowing me to take part in this beautiful journey of yours called life. Enjoy the next 2 weeks. Hello, this is our my group 2s. Welcome to your reading. This is for the first full moon in October, which is, I believe, October 6th. Did I say full moon? New moon, new moon. So these are good for the next 2 weeks. It doesn't really matter when you're watching these, actually. If you fall upon here, it's probably because there's a message in here for you. Energy has no boundaries, so it doesn't really matter. When you're watching these, we start off with the archetypes, so the overall energy. Then we fall into the tarots, and then we go into the oracles. This time around, you have 3 special messages. You have a healing message, a love message, a medicine card. So you guys have chosen the Desert Rose. The Desert Rose is for higher levels of consciousness. So this particular stone is great for if you're looking to connect with your higher self or with any other high vibrational beings. So I am assuming over here that you are someone that has been working on themselves for a very long time, that you have been connecting with yourself. It's also related in love. For those of you asking about love, I would say that it might be opening up. You would have to first open up your heart before you do that. That would be for some people. For others, I'm getting a sense that you already have a love and it's blossoming. And if you had any doubts, this is a confirmation that your love is growing, that it has found a new, renewed kind of blossoming, if that makes sense. So let's go with your archetype. So the archetype is just like the overall energies that you're going to have in the next 2 weeks. Ace of Swords, inspiration, l'as de l'air. Oh, okay. There's going to be a new beginning of some sort, a new way of seeing things, a new perception. It's going to be very easy and fun. Like, I'm getting the sense of flowiness. Like, it's just gonna be, I don't know if you've been trying to manifest anything. I feel like things are just gonna come a lot easier to you because you're working on a new way of seeing things, a new perception, a new kind of unbounding yourself. I'm very drawn to this cord that is around this feather, and I feel like you've been very bounded by your situations. You feel like you were being limited, almost like the sense of being stuck. Well, something has something has unwinded, like something has shifted, or you figure something out, you've paid attention to something. There's something, it's almost like an aha moment. And for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be for you to really follow that hunch, follow that gut, follow, I want to say, your intuition. I mean, the Ace of Swords are usually not about intuition. It's usually about, I guess it could be, because everything's related in one way or another. But I kind of feel like you're going to align your analytical self with your like spiritual bodies, with this intuitive superpower that we all have. Is that making sense? So in the next 2 weeks, just keep following these hunches, keep aligning yourself. And aligning, I mean, if you have any doubts, just remember that these doubts are only here to guide you and realign you to your center. We are only but energy, and energy is only but frequencies and vibration. And I'm not saying that you should deny any feelings of doubt and all that. No, feel them. We're here, we're human beings. We're here to be, we're here to feel. But do know that these doubts are usually rooted in fear, and that fear usually comes down to how we feel about ourselves. To me, they're just, the way I see it, it's like lessons. They're lessons for us to remember who we really are. Remember. I just got a scene of the Lion King for some reason in my head. But ultimately, yes, to remember who we are. We are children of the universe, children of God, if you're into religion. We are but stardust, right? That we belong, you belong here. You belong on this planet. You belong just because you are. Just because you have decided to come to this planet. If you're not into reincarnation, you belong just because you are breathing here at this moment. You belong here. You're worthy. So anything that derails from that is just your guiding systems trying to bring you back, right? Trying to remind you that you are worthy. You're worthy of your desires. You're worthy of what you want. You are worthy of where you're going. Okay? So I feel like you already know this in some ways because, as I said, you've unbounded yourself. I don't know if you're able to see, but you've, like, it's unwinding. You don't feel you're getting yourself unstuck. And by doing this, you're really shifting your perspective. And for the next 2 weeks, the overall energy is just to follow that, to just continue, really start seeing the world in a different light, in a different view. This reminds me a lot of my group one. I feel like a lot of us are going kind of through the same thing right now. And it's just beautiful because so much people are actually understanding this law of attraction, this manifesting game, because it's more than just ask and you shall receive, right? You need to really embody it, and it really comes down to your worthiness. Do you feel worthy enough to receive what you're requesting? Because the thought sends the signal, but the emotion brings it back into you, to 3D reality. Really pay attention to that. Okay, let's see your tarot cards. Let's see what they have to say. These don't honor the reverse, so I will. Okay, you have the Emperor, the King of Airs, and you have it twice over here. You have 5 of Waters, which is 5 of Cups. Yes, this does remind me a lot of group 1. Well, I'm sure there's a couple of differences, but oh yeah, a lot of things are being revealed. A lot of people are changing and shifting their perspective, so I'm really happy to see these cards. And you have the King of Airs, the King of Swords once again. And it's funny because they're both air. They're both tarot. Even if they're different, they're still using the elements. So Very, yeah. Sorry, talking to myself. So Queen of Waters, Queen of Cups, and Justice reversed. Okay, so what do we need to know? This whole shift, this whole change of perspective that you're going through, that you have been going through, but that something has actually clicked right now. It has something to do with your integrity, how you hold yourself, how you speak to others, but more importantly, how you stop putting yourself last, right? Because the emperor, he's all about serving, absolutely serving his kingdom, but he does it in a way that is beneficial for all. Like he's a very, the way I see it, he's a very male mindset, so very analytical, entrepreneurship, but he will serve, but he won't serve in a way that diminishes his integrity. You get what I'm going here? He's not one that's going to be persuaded to let go of his values or be persuaded to do something that would diminish his self-esteem or his self-worth. He's all in all the kings of all kings. So he knows himself very well. He knows what he wants. He knows his values, and he knows when he's going to move forward, when he's going to push, and when he's going to be more flexible. Like there's, those boundaries are firm. There are those boundaries, certain boundaries where he knows he will never go over, that he will never let others pass. So I feel that what we need to know in your current situation is that the shift that you're going through is to deepen this integrity, this respect almost for yourself. That you need to find this deep respect for yourself and know that you are worthy and you have done so much already, that you have already participated, and that you have given just so much. I don't know why. It's just this ongoing, like, you have given so much, you have given so much. You don't owe anybody anything. You do not owe anybody this idea of more. You understand where I'm going at? I'm feeling there's a lot of mind chatter. There's a lot going on in your mind, and it has to do with like picking up the broken pieces from your past. The Five of Cups is all about paying attention to these cups that are broken instead of paying attention to the two very filled cups and just focusing on those instead of wallowing in your sorrow, blaming, victimizing yourself, saying, oh my God, but I had 5 cups before, I had this many cups and now I only have 2. It's basically the analogy of seeing the glass half full instead of half empty, because we can stay in that position for a very long time. You're coming also the king of your mind as well. It was interesting. I was really attracted to this earring. And for some reason, this earring just brought me to the idea of you're someone that's very in tuned and very intuitive. And I don't know why, it could be very emotional. But you're kind of getting that into check, knowing that your emotions are understandable, but they're not necessary all the time, right? A lot of the times our emotions run amok because of whatever reasons. But because your overall energy for the next 2 weeks is really to unbind yourself from this aspect, I feel like you're really starting to consciously create or consciously master the mind, which is such a blessing because not everybody is able to do that. Everybody has the ability to do that, but not everybody wants to do it, because sometimes it's just easier to fall into our emotions and stay there and linger there. And again, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't feel your emotions. On the contrary, I think it's very important that you feel it, because that's how you actually let energy run through you and out. Most of the time, what we do, however, is that we run our emotions, but then we get it stuck there because we're like opening a circuit, and that circuit gets strengthened and strengthened and strengthened, and it goes back to like the neural pathways. We are strengthening a specific neural pathways in this situation. In this case, it would be a neural pathways of an emotion that of anger or sadness or resentment or whatever that is keeping you stuck, and you're just staying there. And because that emotion runs through your body and it's never actually released. And what I mean by release means that it's been accepted. It is what it is. It happened. That's the first thing you can do to actually start releasing something, is radical acceptance. Yes, okay, this happened. Am I gonna wallow in it? Am I gonna repeat the story? Or am I gonna start turning it into a different story? Or am I going to start talking about it differently? It's back to this perspective, seeing things differently. That's how we get out of a rut. That's how we get out of ourselves, right? Take ourselves out of the equation, take our emotions out of the equations, and just see things as they are, instead of seeing things emotionally charged, seeing ourselves as victims or seeing others as victims. It's just like a vicious cycle, right? It's harder to move forward. You can still move forward, but it's harder. And where this is all going, for some reason, I don't see this as you per se. I'm feeling this as somebody else. Like I'm looking deep into these eyes, and I feel like there's someone else looking at me. So someone who exhibits the King of Swords, someone who's very analytical, very traditional, and someone who is more 3D than 5D, I would say. I would say that women have a more tendency of entering the 5D world. That's just easier for us at sometimes, not all the time, but in my experiences with the people that I know. And for men, it's more concrete. You need to see facts, you need to see evidence, right? And I feel like that's the situation right now. But I'm seeing a beautiful harmony over here, beautiful give and take almost. I'm seeing you as the queen of emotions here. And for some reason, I'm just feeling like you guys are going to offer each other something very beautiful. You guys are going to offer each other, you're going to offer emotional stability, or you're going to offer a way for this person to express himself in a less, how can I say it, in a less analytical mind. Almost help him or her tap into their intuitive side. And vice versa. This person's gonna help you almost like concretize, bringing your ideas from the 5D and 4D down into the 3D. That doesn't mean that he will understand those concepts. He'll just maybe have the right steps to take you towards that. Like I'm just feeling, for some reason, I'm feeling an infinity between both of these counterparts, both of these cards, between the King of Air and the Queen of Water. So could almost be like this is a soul contract, whatever this is. A soul contract of you finding your balance, finding this alignment. For me, justice, and it's exactly like the card that came out in my group 1, the justice card. Finding this alignment, finding this Again, coming back to center. Oh, you're doubting, you're doubting, you're doubting. Oh, you're tilting. The balance scale of doubt and fear is bringing you to this lower frequency. Well, the whole purpose is to kind of bring you back. Why are you doubting? Your fear? Why you fear? Because you don't feel worthy enough? Okay, well, is that ultimately true? No, absolutely friggin' not. There's nobody that has a chalkboard in the sky that's writing that you are not worthy. No, absolutely not. You are worthy just because you are breathing right now. And this is bringing in, you're changing just by saying that. You're just changing your story. First of all, it's a truth. It's a truth. Nobody is here. Nobody is a waste of air or of breath. We are all here helping each other, whether we know it or not. So is to find these limiting beliefs. And this lesson over here, I believe, is to find these limiting beliefs and bring it up. And nobody's going to do that for you. That's another thing. You guys are going to help and complement each other in some ways, but don't expect anything from each other. That is very important. And once you get that alignment, once you get to the neutral position, then you can start focusing on high frequency, high vibes, high images. Start focusing on the stuff that sparks joy, sparks inspiration. And soon enough, you'll have these urges to do something, to go somewhere, to build something, and it's just gonna flow. So, recap. Overall energy, you're doing something different. You've been doing something, but there's an aha moment where you're like, something just clicked and you're unbinding yourself, right? You are seeing things in a different light. There's a new beginning. There's a new way of seeing things. New perspectives are coming. This has to do with you integrating integrity, boundaries, and more importantly, you respecting yourself, finding that respect for yourself, which will ultimately strengthen your boundaries or your limitations and values. Because if you respect yourself enough, you will not allow anybody to do anything to you against your will, right? And you are shifting, you're becoming the king of your thoughts. Because of this shift, you are now going to let go of the past, let go of the broken pieces. Yes, okay, there's broken pieces, but that's not who you are. That never was who you are. That was but a moment, but a story. And you decide to tell that story. You decide what story or how that story goes. Only you, nobody else. Nobody else. And I really remember that. Nobody has any control over what story is real, only you. And where this is all going, it's going towards a give and take of some sort, whether it's a partner, a friendship, a work. Could just be like a project that you're kind of investing in, where this analytical mind of yours is you believe is taking over, but you're now deepening and blending the analytical with the emotional, knowing how to allow these emotions to flow and using your analytical to almost manifest the reality that you're looking for, right? For those that it is a person, you guys are slowly collaborating and using each other's strengths and helping each other. You with your gifts, him with his gifts. And if this is kindred spirits that, and you know who I'm talking about, their major lesson is for you to find your worthiness alone by your no other means but yourself, and to find that alignment and then manifest or bring up your frequencies to the level that you want, right? Let's see, what's your healing message? Music. one of the best vibe lifters in the world. I would put music first thing in the morning, and you just felt the whole shift in the house, regardless of who it was inside. So definitely tap into music, play music, dance, sing. Singing is another way. It opens up the throat. Some say that it's the chimney of the heart. So it's the heart speaking through us, right? So that's the message for you for the next 2 weeks. Integrate music however you can. Okay, if you're someone who plays music, play music whenever you can. Whenever you're feeling low, whenever you start thinking about this, play music, right? Make it part of this vibe and this mind shifter. Love message. Honeymoon. Enjoy the bliss of holiday between... Oops, sorry, let me say it again. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. Whoa. Well, if you're in a relationship or not, or if this is just you falling back in love with yourself, enjoy this honeymoon phase. Enjoy this rekindling. Enjoy this, time in your life where you're getting to know each other again, right? Feel those butterflies if they're coming up. Don't hinder them with your past. Don't hinder them with these behaviors or these emotions that no longer serve either or you or this relationship. And if this is just relationship with you, falling back in love with yourself, enjoy every single minute. Take yourself out on a date. And this could be also people who are in a relationship but who are learning to love themselves, also finding that respect. And if you take yourself out on a date, you start realizing what you love and what you don't love, what you want and what you don't want, right? And for your spirit guide, it's the Jaguar 51. I will read it. It's in contrary. Integrity, impeccability. Sacred Jaguar, teach me to wear my power lightly, to walk with impeccability, to approach life with compassion, and to live up to the integrity. If Jaguar is hanging upside down from the tree lump today, you may have created an enlightenment trap for yourself. Has the misuse of authority kept you from walking your path with impeccability? Have you betrayed your personal integrity to accommodate others? Are you engaged in some activity that lessens your potential? If so, call your spirit or energy back. Integrity requires a forgiving and open heart. Compassion and mercy are also needed. Self-blame or pointing fingers at others only shows your own lack of integrity. Ooh, that's deep, guys. Let's say that again. Compassion and mercy are also needed. Self-blame or pointing fingers at others only shows your own lack of integrity. Weren't we just talking about integrity? You can't make this stuff up. In the contrary, Jaguar always warns you to correct any need to control others. Oh la la. This was one of the messages in my group ones. Any abuses of influence, any form of manipulation, moralistic judgments, dishonesty, hidden agendas, envy, greed, or victim-like jealousy that may be affecting your life, if you have slipped, allowing a temporary lapse in impeccability to compromise your integrity, you need to rectify your misdeeds. Jaguar reminds us, become impeccable, use integrity, and you will thrive. Oof. I don't need to add anything to that. That was pretty self-explicit. It comes back to finding this alignment too, right? Coming back to your true self. It's not the doubts, it's not the fears. Your true self is this balance between dark and light. It's there, right? You are the light. shine your light on, the things that bother you. See it in a different light. See it as a different story. Make that conscious decision. I mean, I don't think I need to tell you. I think you already know. Because as I mentioned, you're becoming the king of your thoughts. And I have one prompt. It's from the game Big Talk. So instead of always having small talk, this is something that you can contemplate and see what comes up for yourself. Or you can ask somebody else. Let's say you can use your intuition. This could be an intuitive exercise. And you can just ask this person this specific question. And the idea is to try to, have a deeper conversation. I feel like it's basically something we all need right now. It could be someone you know or someone you don't know, or maybe even both. And see what happens, right? Sometimes people tend to open up more when it's someone we don't know for some reason. So the prompt is, if you could talk to everyone in the world, what would you say? Ooh, that's interesting. If you could talk to everyone in the world, what would you say? Definitely take out your journal and see what comes up. You could put a little timer. You can put like a 12-minute timer and just monkey dump, brainstorm. You can put less. You can put 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Who cares? Very interesting. Well, that's all that I have for you for my group 2s. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for allowing me to take part of this incredible journey called life. And I will see you in the next pick a card reading. Thank you. Welcome. These messages are for my group 3s. Hello. The way I operate is that these messages are good for the next 2 weeks. I normally do them for the full moon and new moons. This one is for October's new moon, October 6th, if I'm not mistaken, but not limited to that. Energy has no boundaries. So if you're watching this right now, it's probably because there's an important message. But do remember to use your guidance. These are general messages. So they're here to help you on your journey, but they're not here to replace any decisions that need to be made, right? Only you know. The answer is within you, no matter what. So the way I operate is I pick a card for the overall energies for the next 2 weeks. Then we have the tarot cards, what we need to know, where it's all going. And then this time around, I added a couple of extra messages. There's a prompt, a healing message, a love message, and your animal guidance. All kinds of fun and good stuff. So you have chosen the citrine. And the citrine is one of my favorite stones, actually. It's a generator, so it cleanses itself. It helps other stones to clear from whatever energies it has picked up. It's one for the confidence and great for the solar plexus. It's meant to push you and help you see and become the greatest version of yourself. That's kind of how I see the citrine. So if you have chosen this, if you were attracted to the stone in particular, you probably need an extra boost of confidence, and the citrine is here to help you out. So you are not alone. You're probably also a light worker. You're probably picking up all kinds of energies and don't know what to do with them. I'm so grateful that you have chosen me to help you on this beautiful journey. Let's see what the cards have to say. Move forward. Keep moving forward. No matter what happens, just keep moving forward. I know sometimes it might feel like nothing good is going to come from moving forward. I've been there. But there's so much more than meets the eye. Your happiness is worth fighting for. Your happiness is worth moving forward for. Okay? Let's see what your overall energy is. Just don't honor. I don't like honoring. They don't honor it, and for some reason I find they're perfectly fine, upright. I generally get all the messages I need. So your overall energy is the King of Pentacles. Reliability. I've been getting so many kings, court cards, and major arcanas. There's just been a lot of movements. The first message that I'm getting here is that if you have any worries about money coming in or how to make money, the King of Pentacles, he's just reminding you that there is money everywhere. It doesn't have to be one source of income, the one that you've been told you should get. There are so many other avenues, and it's just a question of exploring, doing some research, looking at your strength and your likes and dislikes, and there's for sure something out there for you. Something that will almost provide you more joy and more stability, more reliability. Almost like you're meant to start something. You're meant to start and you become your own entrepreneur, is what I'm trying to say here. And yes, it doesn't feel in the beginning like it's stable or it's reliable, but there's so much more flexibility in it. And eventually, if you choose to see the bigger picture, you will see how reliable it could get. Whatever you choose, whatever you decide, do the research that you need to do. For the next few weeks, the overall energy from what I'm getting here is, one, your job is going to create more stability and more reliability. Two, you will find more options. You will start exploring and seeing the different avenues. You have a lovely energy over here that is waiting for you to tap into. The King of Pentacles is that entrepreneur, right? All the kings are entrepreneurs of specific things, but this is specifically the entrepreneur of material gains. And you might actually see and realize that you are so abundant. That's another message that I'm feeling is coming out. Also, in the next few weeks, you're going to be very grateful for a lot of things that you did not realize or that you weren't grateful for before. There's a shift that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks that's going to have you or see different avenues or see the things that you could and will be grateful for, things that you do have right now. Let's see what your tarot cards have to say. I don't know why I'm feeling an extremely heavy heart right now. There is something extremely heavy that's weighing on your heart. There's a lot of fear. And it might have to do with a heartache, an ending of some sort. Yeah, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. It's or you're responsible for a lot of people and you've been trying to heal them. You've been trying to kind of like coddle them and protect them, but you've been trying to release them from whatever's going on, almost to a point where you're getting too emotionally involved. But also very separate, if that makes sense. Like the King of Cups, he's the most sensitive of the bunch, right? He's one who understands his emotions properly, but he's still an entrepreneur. He's still a very masculine view of the world. So he's very in tuned, but I almost feel like there's a disconnection between you and your emotion. Like you're very good at helping others find their emotions, very good at helping others and finding compassion for others, but when it comes to yourself, you're not able to provide that For others, it's not a problem. You can give, 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 give. Maybe that's like what the overall energy is too, is start giving and providing that abundance to yourself, right? Like you have a tendency of maybe giving to others, not only emotionally, but materialistically. And it's all fun, but if you don't fill up your cup, you're more vulnerable. You leave yourself more vulnerable for disappointments and more available for disappointments. And this disappointment ultimately leads to heartache because we have these expectations and they're not being met. But because you're able to help others with their emotions and not really be able to express your needs, nobody really knows how to give what you need, right? Like that's the difference that I see with the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is more in tune. She's more able to express herself freely. The King is very good at expressing himself too, but in a more professional manner and in a more entrepreneurial manner, if that makes sense. Like just because he's able to, run a country, that doesn't mean that he's able to express his needs, is where I'm going at with this. And the Six of Cups is really that, right? It's a give and take, an equal give and take. And this is where the pleasure comes into play. And this is where the fun comes into play. But because you're not able to fill up your cup, and this has happened to me so many times, you give, but then you have nothing to give anymore. And because you have nothing to give anymore, you have these expectations and you're like, yes, but they're supposed to do this for me and they're supposed to do that for me. But no. One, it doesn't mean that they did not want to help you. They just didn't know how. They didn't know you needed it because you probably put on this very, very thick armor that is hard to actually penetrate, to actually understand what your needs are. And on the same time, nobody owes us anything. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes me anything. You don't owe anybody anything. You're here as a human being. Yes, we're here to help each other, communicate, grow with each other, evolve with each other, learn lessons from each other. But ultimately, we don't truly owe anything to anybody. What happens is that we realize that it's just easier and better if we help each other through certain things, and that's what's being human. We recognize that, and we have this innate ability to just have unconditional love and love one another so much that we will actually help each other to do things. But at the end of the day, we don't owe anything to anybody. Let me know if that makes sense. I'll try to find a better analogy. I feel like there's like a piece missing to what I'm trying to say, but ultimately, when we give from an empty cup, we want our cup to be refilled, but instead of refilling it ourselves with self-care and things that we want to do and how we want to do them, we expect it to be filled by others. And when those needs are not met, we experience deep disappointment, and this deep disappointment leads to heartache. And that's what the Three of Swords is all about. It's all about, the traditional has like three swords stabbing the heart, which is like pretty gruesome. And it's usually love related, but not necessarily. It could be just a partnership, a commitment. It could be also, a project and fall through and you had so much expectations. But generally, it's usually someone else that we think is inflicting it on us. So I'll get to the overall, but where does this all going? Whatever pain you're feeling, it's time for you to heal. It's time for you to take accountability and try to see, how are you allowing this to happen? How are you allowing, the giving of yourself to so many people, helping so many people, healing, and really going the extra mile? How are you allowing that to happen without, first off, you filling up your cup? And second off, how are you contributing to not being able to vocalize your needs so you can actually have and get help? Right? At the end of the day, we always need to have a deep self-reflection and really see how we're contributing. Not all the time. Sometimes, people are just toxic, and the lesson that we need to learn is to learn when to get the F out. Right? That's part of integrity. That's part of you loving yourself enough and respecting yourself enough to get out of there. Right? If a situation is dangerous, get out. And even if it's not dangerous, but it's toxic and it's draining, and you just feel drained and you don't feel filled, and you are voicing, or you feel like you're voicing, and it's not getting through, get out, at least temporarily. Get your vibration and your frequency up. Come back to alignment, right? Life is about that alignment, that line. As soon as we doubt, we go down our frequency. As soon as we hate, as soon as we fear, as soon as our energy is depleted, as soon as we're heartbroken, our energy goes down. And it's our responsibility to bring it back up however we can, whether it's through dancing, singing, playing. That's why kids just bounce back, because they don't stay there, they don't linger there, they come back. And then from there, you can raise your frequencies. And as soon as you raise your frequencies, the people just walk away. They can't take anything from you anymore if these are people that are just taking without filling up your cup. As soon as you start raising your frequency, and I guarantee this, I promise you this, that doesn't mean you won't fall off the bandwagon and counter those people, but you're going to be so elevated. You would practice your frequency and your vibrations religiously to a point where these people won't faze you, and they will not be able to get what they need from you, which is probably just your energy and your light and your good vibes, because you're going to only be working and helping people that are willing to help and work themselves on themselves, right? Anyways, where this is all going, it is heading towards all your desires. Like, you have the 10 of Pentacles. Yes, it's reversed, but I feel like there's still this massive lesson that needs to be learned over here. As soon as you get out of your head, as soon as you start taking accountability, but also start replenishing your cups and finding and learning ways to ask for what you need, which is one of the lessons for sure for you to get over here and bring it back upright. There's also going to be a period where the Five of Swords represents, a victory. But a victory where almost like both parties don't win. It's like this pompous guy who has won this battle and the people are walking away from it, but he might have not done it in the most honest way, or, it was a fight where two individuals, it's almost like this, right? Where the person didn't really know what was going on, and then you picked a fight with them and you won the battle, but it was a very sour kind of win, because it's not like this other person actually wanted to hurt you in any way. You won the argument, but nobody really gained anything from it, right? So I would really encourage you to focus on how to be impeccable with your words and really express what you need. Because I do not believe that the people around you are intentionally trying to hurt you or intentionally trying to disappoint you. And I feel like this is like the biggest lesson for you to understand and to learn at this moment, that you are an incredible light worker and you are able to completely cleanse and heal so many people, but you really need to cleanse and heal yourself at times too. That you're a great entrepreneur and you're finding new avenues, but you need to give some of that to yourself, meaning that time, the material gains, and filling up your cup. However, you need to go to a spa if you must, and go in nature, buy yourself a bouquet of flowers if this is something. Get a glass of wine and celebrate yourself. Celebrate you for being you, right? And really tap into not only the masculine version of the King of Cups, but also the feminine one, who's really able to vocalize in a way that is heard, right? Not that is martyred and victimized. Fill your cup up first, learn how to express yourself, and this will never happen again. It's the vibe that I'm getting here. It's what I'm understanding. And then this 10 of Pentacles is basically like all wishes and desires coming to fruition, coming true. And right now it's really just this lesson that needs to be learned. Oh, look at that, there's a wolf. Your spirit guide is probably a wolf, or you might have a wolf by your side. You're very well protected, that I am sure. But there's so much they could do because you're here to learn specific lessons, right? Let's see what your healing card is. Meditation. So for you, in the next 2 weeks, it'll be very important to tap in to yourself. Tap into yourself through calming the mind. You calm the mind, you are actually able to hear your soul. Meditation is hard in the beginning, but once you get the ball rolling, it's one of the practices that will center yourself the quickest. And it's going to be different every time, but that's because every day is different, right? So your healing guiding message is meditation. There's going to be insights. It's probably going to be the way you transform whatever pain or healing that you need. If you can actually meditate in nature, it's probably going to boost it 100 and 1,000 times more. Let's see what your love messages is. Soulmate. So if there is a person, yes, this is your soulmate. So if you had any doubts, this is your soulmate. For those who don't have anybody, you're definitely calling in to one. And soulmates are so much better than, not one is better or worse, but a lot of people want the twin flame and this and that, but the twin flame is extremely intense and it doesn't mean that they last forever. Usually twin flames are very short-lived and it's very precise and it's for a specific reason. Soulmates are also sometimes just there to teach us lessons. Soul contracts too, but I'm getting the vibe here that whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on, you're calling this person in, or if he's already in, yes, if there's a lot of turmoil going on, it's probably because you guys have decided to come together to teach each other these lessons that I mentioned, so you can have all your heart's desires. And your animal guide is the fox. Close enough to the, it's completely different, but still a furry critter. and I will read from the book. It is reversed. So watch out for a Willy Fox. If this card has appeared reversed, someone may be watching you and trying to figure out your next move. If you look deeper, however, it may be that you are watching yourself to prove to yourself that you exist. If you have become a wallflower to the point of disappearing, you may need to decide that you are worth noticing. Contrary fox is as foolish as it is cunning, and you may have fooled yourself into believing that your low self-esteem is due to your being born plain or having an ordinary life. This is camouflage of a different sort, in that you have camouflaged your true desires to experience life with friends, with joy, and with purpose. In any case, you are put on notice to be aware of apathy and self-induced boredom. You may have to dig deeply to find what excites you enough to scurry across the wasteland of your dull sense and live. Contrary fox may also be telling you that you have become too visible. In climbing to a place of recognition, oftentimes the envy or jealousy of others is thrown in your face. If you are feeling attacked, withdraw. It may be time to assume the attitude of the hermit and deck yourself in the cloth of invisibility. To write contrary fox in this situation, call on Armadillo and name your boundaries. Then call on the family's protector to show you the art of camouflage. Once out of the line of attack, you can resume the role of being your foxy self. Become fox and feel the joy of knowing the playground of your life. You may just find a chicken coop full of intriguing morsels of delight. Ooh, interesting. There was a lot of message in there. A lot of messages. Pick the one that resonates with you the most. Yeah, pick the one that resonates with you the most. I think I'll leave it at that. Not to bias whatever resonated. And you have a prompt. So I've been drawn to give these this time around. So it's basically from the game Big Talk, where you have these questions that help you go a little deeper in a conversation. So this is to help you go deeper within yourself, or you can actually use these prompts and ask a family member or ask a friend or someone you know, basically is what I'm saying, or ask somebody you don't know and see how deep the conversation goes. Your intuition calls out to the most. Just listen to that. It could be also just an intuitive practice, intuitive exercise. So your prompt is, what is a quirk your family has? Okay, interesting. Yes, sorry about that. So the video cut, but the prompt is, what is a quirk your family has? And just have fun with this. See what comes up. Maybe this will just lighten the vibration that you're in. Ask somebody for their family quirks. Maybe you guys will have a good laugh. Ask someone you know, or who knows, maybe ask a stranger. See what calls out to you the most. That's all for today. Have a great 2 weeks. See you soon.